Hi everyone, welcome back to the Lightworkers. Today we are here with Suniti, another Lightworker healer, and she's been practicing various modalities. So welcome Suniti, how are you?
Hi, Anisha. Thank you so much for the warm welcome.
So why don't we start with your introduction, how you got into healing, and overall, what your journey has been, your healing journey into this world of healing.
Okay. So I'm Suniti. I am a psychotherapist and a coach, and I also am a healer and energy worker. So basically, my journey started mostly with psychology because that's what I primarily studied. However, I was
Mm-hmm.
always interested in spirituality and understanding more about people and the world in general. And I think whatever I learned through my formal education gave me a lot of insight and knowledge, but it was one directional. And
Yeah.
then I think I was searching a lot more for like what could be more possible, or if it came to like even working with clients, I started feeling that something is incomplete or there's more that I need to know. So my first journey with energy work began when I started learning regression work. This was in
Mm.
2017, so I was practicing already from 2014. However, you could say in other psychotherapeutic or coaching modalities like art therapy, cognitive
Mm.
therapy, like that. Then once I learned regression work, I could see the depth of it and also like how it worked not just with the brain or the body and mind, but it went beyond that. It went into the soul level, and we worked with bigger concepts of life and lifetimes and systems, like family systems,
Mm.
community systems. So it really helped, and it gave me a very wide perspective and understanding. And then from there, it has just been learning more and this journey of like giving a lot of service to people. So I also learned tarot, Reiki. So there are various modalities that I learned over time since then.
Yeah. So when you talked about regression, Suniti, what exactly are we referring to? Is this past life regression, or when you say family systems, what does it mean? I just wanted to know more about regression.
So regression work, the way I learned it was more about like going back in time. So we learned a lot about inner child healing, inherited family
Mm.
trauma healing, and of course past lives. But then when
Mm.
it came to the work, there was more to it. So I also learned practices around like multiple lifetimes, going across multiple lifetimes, going back to the original lifetime, going back to the source consciousness,
Mm.
then working with like polarities that exist within lifetimes, and a lot more into shamanic work also, where I started working
Mm.
with entities, doing entity work, and also, I encountered cases with occult, so working around that.
Mm.
And my best sort of uh, practice is surrogate work, where I
Mm.
can help an individual heal via, working with a surrogate medium. And
Mm.
these are things that slowly unfolded for me, one after the
Yeah.
other, learning.
Yeah.
And really, because of the kind of clients I was getting, and this gave me such a huge sort of window, like a doorway, to the different possibilities. Like I said, I was probably working with the brain, body, and mind, but then I started working even with the soul and the systems around it.
Wow. So now that there are so many modalities, Suniti, are you working with all of them when clients come to you, or on a daily basis or on a regular basis? Currently, which ones are you following, or which ones are you practicing?
I do work with almost all of them. I when I onboard a client now, I explain to them that I do integrated work, which means that I draw from various modalities. We will look
Mm.
at, working with their chakras and the energy system, and we will also see the emotional baggage linked to it, and then the inner child or the childhood trauma work related with that, and
mm,
use various techniques from cognitive therapy, art therapy, things like that. So I kind of integrate it in that way. However, I do practice other energy work in, let's say, in certain containers. Like there are certain workshops or containers I keep wherein people come in for a specific type of work, or I
mm.
offer single sessions where we work on like entity work, things like that. So people know about it, but then specific requests are there. So that's when they come in. Yeah.
I wanted to delve deeper into the entity work and occult work that you spoke about because it sounds very interesting. So, I mean, even if you want to just give a gist of, what exactly it is, and if somebody wants to reach out to you, what's the process?
So my take on it is very interesting. I don't know if anybody will speak about it in this way. And this is not to offend anyone or diminish it in any way, but when you learn entity work or occult work, it's basically working with another energetic being body, right? Oh, sorry, energetic being without a body, right?
Right.
So entities are present all around us, and a lot of the times we have internal hooks because of which they latch on, or there are entities in our systems we may have been carrying within our family also, right?
Mm,
uh, a
mm,
lot of the times the entity work that I have done has involved entity of other people, our own past life karmic entities, and entities of animals, pets, things like that. In occult, it's more of like, an entity in our system about which someone probably has sent or someone has
mm,
put. So it
mm,
usually ties to some kind of a specific ritual done, or a spell spoken, or some
mm.
enchantments and some processes made. And that's how it is there in our system, with a particular purpose of, it could be ill health, causing ill health, causing
Yeah.
financial loss, things like that. So if you
Mm,
look at it in its entirety, it's very complex. Um, it can feel very scary, honestly,
yeah.
and it takes a lot away from you. So a good way for me has been to like really look at it in the simplest of ways. That,
Mm,
let's say the person was a computer and this is a virus, and I am going to follow a systemic structure step to like remove this virus. So the first step is to like help the person become aware of it and give
right.
them that safety that this can be resolved right here, right now, by the both of us. And then
Mm,
moving forward from there in terms of the different methods that we use,
mm, mm,
in the
mm.
energetic work. So I kind of look at it very simply, because that helps the person who is in distress also look at it in a simpler way,
On
because
that.
other people's life in life, they are really going through the repercussion of it. They can feel it in their
Mm,
body, such heaviness. There are problems surrounding them, and it can feel very scary. So
yeah.
I try to
Yeah.
look at it simply and also give my clients a simpler perspective in order to help them.
That sounds, yeah, it is. It sounds a little scary, but at the same time also reassuring that, there is a structure and a process that one can follow and then, find a solution, basically.
Which I follow,
Um,
I feel like I have
which you
integrated,
follow.
yeah, my learnings
Mm,
to a specific way by which I can help my clients. But these are not things that come up so easily. Some people are
mm,
aware, or they've been to others who maybe have been able to help them, but only till a point. Yeah,
right.
has not been able to help them, and then
Mm,
they've reached out to me. Or sometimes they come in with chronic issues in the body or with the family, and in a session we stumble upon this, and then
mm,
at the
mm,
time, that's how we remove it. So if people want to be get in touch with me, there's no, I mean, I can't sit now here and say that there is occult in your system or not, because probably there is, but
mm,
whether you
mm,
have the hook or not, whether you're carrying it or not, because there's so many members in the family system, or
right.
in the community. So that's when we like for example, like it could be there in everybody's system, but then it has to show up. So either there are specific events that lead you to feel a certain way, and then you get clarity on it, and that's how we can remove it because people reach
Mm,
out, or we work on something, a specific problem, and it connects to, I mean, this comes up in the session, it just shows up, you know.
mm. So, Suniti, has your trajectory towards the healing, world always been very linear? You knew this is what you need to do, or, you just chanced upon it and just entered the spiritual world and sort of just accepted it.
Honestly, my journey has been thoda, it's like in Hindi, I would say ulta. So, my grandmother was a Reiki and pranic healer. So it's
Oh,
been like I've been aware of this for a long time now. She would work a lot with crystals. So I never knew it as a child, but I saw it. However, I could also see that sometimes it doesn't work, or sometimes she would be tired. And so I could see both
mm,
ends, right? And
right,
then
right.
like my own sort of journey to understand the human mind, or just the world that we live in
Mm-hmm.
through my study of psychology, I found myself deviating more towards the sciences, or like the logical side, or the non-spiritual
Yeah.
aspects, a lot of structure. It's easier, it's more accessible, that's why. But then I feel like I came back to my roots in a way where
Yeah.
these modalities, like they found me, in the sense like I was not really looking to learn regression work or entity work, but I don't know if you know Dr. Gaurav Deka.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so he's a friend, and then we got introduced long back in 2012, I think. But then, I decided that okay, I'll learn it. Like, he's teaching something new, something different. And, I think I kind of know about these things. I just never wanted to like believe in them, maybe. And then once
Mm,
I let myself like be open to receiving that, okay, this is something that wants to come back to me in a way,
mm-hmm.
that's when it really helped me. I could learn it well. I've been able to help a lot of people, and I also feel like it's a way for me to reconnect with my grandmother, and like just my childhood in a different way, honestly.
Right. Yeah. Um, so, Suniti, what is the role of God or like faith in your life?
I would just talk about faith. So I think that I practice a lot of faith every day.
Mm,
The biggest is probably in myself, because that's the most challenging.
mm,
And the concept of God is quite dynamic in my life, because um, I'm from Assam, and in Assam there's a lot of like Devi and Shakti Hinduism worship, and then there's also like non-idol worshipping, like uh, lot of like very very other practices also. So it's quite mixed and dynamic. And I married into a Muslim family, so my husband is from a different religion, and here also there are so many beautiful principles, practices. So then I try not to look at the concept of God really, but more like there being a divine, and there being this oneness that connects us, which holds both the light and the shadow, and we
yeah.
can connect to the light at every point, and we can be protected and helped. So I think it's in the practice of just having faith, practicing it every day, that I found it. And honestly, mostly in myself, I always try to come back to like, yes, I think I can do it, like having that faith in myself. And that comes when you feel like you are part of a bigger system, and that the universe is there and you have so much. When you're lonely, or you feel lonely, that's when this doesn't happen. It's not easy to have faith in anything, even God, no? Then
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I would give this perspective.
So when you talk about faith in one's own self, I think like a lot of people are struggling with that nowadays. So
Yes.
is there a way or is there a process or just an explanation, or if you could delve deeper into how one can inculcate this faith in oneself? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Here some elements of trauma also come in, right? I would like to mention it because we are not free from that. You know, we all
Mm,
have experienced it in some form or some way, and that can really disconnect us from our own self, from believing in
mm,
ourselves, from just being who we are, you know, remaining conditioned to a lot of things that we have learned over time that may or may not be
mm,
true, you know, the societal things or the family things. So we I feel like that is this whole challenge, you know, the fact that so many
mm,
of us are carrying trauma and we haven't been able to process it in a safe way, and we haven't been able to come back to our own selves to have that faith. Therefore, like I
mm,
mentioned, I believe that I think it's an everyday practice, you know, whether you are practicing
mm,
it as a meditation, spiritual meditation, just connecting to your body, connecting to your own higher self, or you are looking at it as a journaling practice of like just putting down your thoughts, trying to
mm,
manifest what you want and believing in it. Or if you look at like you know, it being like a self-confidence exercise, and you know, you're working on your beliefs or you're taking action to like practice something, it's still an
right.
everyday practice, you know. Whether
Mm,
I sit and create a program, or whether I sit and just like meditate, or whether I connect with the higher being, I think like it then comes back to that authentic connection with your own self, which
yeah.
is what gets broken so many times. Isliye, I think that's why I think people are struggling with it. And I would say
Mm.
it has to be every day. You know,
So
that's
like a
how it would.
consistent practice.
Yes,
Mm,
yes. Coming back to yourself, you know, even if you have doubt, like slowing down and then giving yourself a chance.
yeah, yeah. And like you talked about, the light and the shadow aspect of life itself. So
Yeah.
how do you deal with clients, or when clients come to you who do not really trust the process, or like, know the actual process of healing? Do they still see results even if they don't believe in the whole, process, or if they don't have faith, so to say?
Mm, you know, it is subjective to the client. I have to mention it because if we don't believe, then we will be in resistance, no? And if we don't
Mm,
believe and there's resistance, then we don't allow ourselves to go through the process. I'm not saying
right.
that, you know, people need to believe in entities or occult, or that's not it, but the fact that there's a process. So, you know, for me, it has been like I can give one example, like, you know, I do more of like integrative work with modalities that people may have heard of, and it's maybe
Mm,
easy to just accept and allow yourselves to go through that process. Simply because it just comes to me very easily. I've done it for years now, isliye. But then let's say there's some issue that keeps coming up, and then I, as a practitioner, know that this is a past life. You know, if we do a past life
mm,
therapy session,
yeah.
then this is resolved for the client. But getting the client to come on board on the same page is, I think, the
Mm,
struggle that a lot of people face. So
mm,
in my case, I tell the client that, see, even if you don't believe in past lives, that's okay. But past life regression therapy has a particular process that helps us really process and give meaning to and connect experiences that are happening for you, which right now have no explanation
right.
in your. So let's go through that process together, because our brain also processes things in such a symbolic way, no? It
Mm,
images and experiences connected with the body. Now, it might not feel like that it's from my this life as, let's say, Anisha or Suniti, but it's there in my mind. I feel it, I see it, I get certain dreams sometimes, you know, or certain kind of patterns repeat for me every time, and I feel a certain
mm,
connection with certain people. So right now in your reality, there's no logical way to connect this, but the process of this type of therapy will help your sort of your conscious, subconscious, unconscious, your body to sort of get on the same page and resolve this for you.
mm,
So
mm,
would you be okay to let yourself go through the process? I kind of like explain
mm,
it that the same way how I'm
right.
trying to like simplify occult. Can you see, like I kind of like use that in my practices where I want to simplify things, because
Mm,
these are simple yet complex, no? And we have that craving for the complex. Like we want to learn
Mm,
to know more. What is more, what is behind that? More depth. What is past life?
mm,
So is past life real? Then was I an alien? You'll go into like questions which are out of context in the now. Right now,
mm,
for me and my client, it's usually like, I want to help you get better,
mm,
not just
mm.
feel better. So let's stick to that. So I would say that for a lot of practitioners, this is what I tell them, that, you stay firm on what you want to do and the conversation will flow.
So when you said crave the complex, what does that mean and where is that coming from? Is that like for uh how people generally are? Is that what you're saying?
I just think like it's the humankind's quest for knowledge. We want to know, let's
Yeah,
say
yeah,
occult comes up, so we want to know what is this entity? Is it a demon?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
do demons exist? Then how can some people do this, others can't? Is it really true? And it might or might not fit our internal blueprint, which has been created from childhood, let's say the conditioning. So the
Mm,
way to look at it is that there is a certain issue and an experience that you're going through, and there's a process that exists in the world that can help you through it. I know that process.
mm,
You be okay to go through that process with me.
mm.
Yeah, I mean,
Makes
that's
sense.
how I look at
And,
it.
and also what and also what you're saying is having all the answers might not be pertinent to the healing process, right?
True,
Yeah,
true. You can also get
yeah,
the
yeah.
answers in a different time and space, or you can just like know about it in your own way. But like I said, I
Mm,
feel like as a practitioner, what I want to focus is on helping the person get better again, not just feel
yeah,
better.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
why. And of course, I have to tell you, this is not a day one first consultation
yeah,
conversation. It has to be
yeah.
with time later. So there has to be a relationship that you build with your client, and then a safety that you create for them. Then only it's.
Mm. That brings me to the next question, Suniti, even though I had something else written down.
Hmm.
What is this safety that we talk about when clients come to us? Like, we talk about nervous system, we talk about building this relationship and having this safe, not just like confidentiality and safe in that sense, but also building it in the nervous system. So, what does it exactly mean?
I think a lot of people could give you a variety of answers on this. All would be equally valid and interesting in their own way. However, I feel like my client can feel safe, or the opposite person can feel safe when I feel safe. If in my clinic space I feel completely safe, I feel like I am in control, I know what to do. I can always bring my client back to the here and now. My client will mirror it, because our
Mm,
bodies are wired that way, our nervous system is wired that way. We pick up on vibes,
mm,
you know, even on a online call, we sort of pick up the vibe of the person. So this is what I teach to my students also, that you need to feel safe with what you are offering them. How far can you take them? Be clear on it. And like, you need to feel safe with the modality yourself. You need to be sure about what you do. You need to know it well. And it's not about just knowing the next fancy thing. It's
mm,
also about knowing that one thing that you can do really well. That
mm,
also ensures safety. So safety comes in these actions. Number one is to feel safe on your own, and number two is, well, this I learned in my clinical technique, that the only way to ensure a therapeutic relationship or safety is to solve the problem from day one.
yeah.
Let's say you've spent the entire session talking, still help them come to a summary of it and ask them, what is the one thing that you would like to feel better about or think clearly about today after our conversation. Try to give them that insight. That alone would also ensure safety, that we are working towards something together. So it's
Mm,
not just talk talk talk, or it's not just like out of control here also. I feel like there's
mm,
a direction.
right. Got
Our
it.
brains
Mm,
feel safe when there is a how of the in
mm,
the process, or there is a path, there's a direction. No,
mm.
so if we are able to give that, then that also ensures safety in the brain, and then it can percolate down to the body.
Mm,
So these are the two things that I focus on to like trying to create that safety from day one. But yes, you have to give it time also. It will come with time, no?
mm,
It
mm.
comes in for the client to show up, you to show up.
So that actually means the light worker or the person who is actually working with the client, they also need to do continuous work on themselves to reach that place before they can serve people, right?
Simultaneously, I would
Simultaneously.
I would
Okay.
never say that work on yourself, then start seeing people. Do both.
Mm,
See
do
people
both.
because you have something to offer, you have value to
Mm,
give, but also
mm,
work on yourself uh, because number one, you need it. Like I said, nobody is free
mm,
from trauma. We
mm,
all need it. We are also humans, light workers,
mm,
energy workers, healers, we are all humans. And secondly, because it also helps you feel safe with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Your own fears don't come up, nothing shows up.
So then,
Yeah.
Suniti, can everyone who comes to you be helped then?
I hope so. That's my
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So,
to help them in
how's
some
your
capacity.
experience been? Yeah, in some capacity. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And if some like, have you had experiences of people who've been a little more difficult with what they want, how they want the results, and then how do you deal with that?
As a young practitioner, it was quite difficult. It's so easy to take it on yourself and like feel like you don't know
Yeah.
enough and keep wondering like, could I have done it differently? Could we have focused on something else? But I think what works is to accept it. Doesn't mean that you feel normal about it. Feel bad about it, but accept that, okay, it didn't work out. Something didn't align from their side, from my side. What I can do is I can just focus on myself and be available for the next person. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only way you will get better, no? When you see the next person and then the next person and then the next person. So
Mm-hmm.
that has been my approach, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, you with a lot of difficult clients or like let's say there's a recurrent problem and it could be frustrating. You are doing looking at it from so many different angles, and then the client also feels like why doesn't this just solve? It keeps coming up for
Yeah.
me. Holding out with patience helps. Then again, the safety comes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
safe that even if I have to look at this problem from 10 different angles using 10 different modalities that I know, that's okay because this is also a possibility and I feel safe about it. I feel safe to go look at it from the 11th angle now.
Mm.
And that's
Yeah.
what will make the client also feel safe that, she's with me or he's with me in this.
Mm. Mm.
Right? The yes, difficulty is there, but like how do you overcome it? I think, no?
Yeah. And this is just probably an extension of the previous question. Then people, have you seen people who are addicted to drama or suffering? And is it the same method that you use to, deal with that as well?
Yeah, there are people who are addicted to drama. There are people who, you know, that's how they have been wired. So some or the other drama will follow them, or some or the other problem is created or manifested by them constantly. You
Mm-hmm.
also want to then understand. I feel like I needed to understand like how far can I be in this journey with them? Only
Mm-hmm.
they take a part of their journey with me, not all of
Right,
it. No?
right. Mm-hmm.
So for a lot of clients, I suggest breaks or gaps in working with me, and
Mm-hmm.
then like coming back to a decision of do they want to continue with me or see somebody else, or to just want to take a pause and just be where they are now, and then think about all of this later again.
Mm.
Sometimes people are addicted to healing also.
What does that mean?
They just want to solve the next thing. They just want to find the next best therapist, next best healer, next best modality that will finally
Ah,
make me free. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Wow. So I think we are kind of talking about boundaries here, right? In terms of who we are and who we are serving. So then I completely forgot the question I was going to ask.
That's okay. I think we are in the flow more than.
Yeah, I was going to ask something about. Anyway, so talking about protection, and then like yeah, yeah, I was going to ask you about boundaries and how talking about energy exchange. So a person comes and there is an energy exchange between you and them. How difficult has it been to start, asking for asking for a price or some return for the service, and then how have you been consistent with that? Because I've seen a lot of light workers getting exhausted and burnt out and not being able to charge what they think they deserve, and it's just a continuous process of suffering there.
True, true. It has been a struggle, honestly, because I feel that I really had to look at my relationship with money and desire it without any hypocrisy. That's like the first thing. I
Yeah,
would say that for a lot of people, they want money, but they can't say it only, you
yeah,
know. So
yeah,
that's wrong. So that also is there, and a lot of people I have seen in my experience. I might not be fully correct, but there are a lot of people who are in this work because they want to also save themselves. They want to know, learn things. They want to like help others because we see our own pain in our clients sometimes. No, like they
yeah,
come in with issues and pain. That's why also we have to keep working with ourselves. So it is a struggle for a lot of us. Our worth, our whole self concept is associated with money. That's why also.
yeah, yeah,
So like I said, the first thing is to just recognize that you desire money and not be a hypocrite about it, like in the sense like if you want 1 lakh rupees a month, you want 1 lakh rupees a month. There's no point convincing yourself and saying 80 will also do 80K, like something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Or like last month I made 12, this month it's 20. It's okay, it's balanced out, you know. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
convince ourselves. So this self-convincing is what I think prevents a lot of people from charging what they want to charge
Mm,
because they are at a particular price point in reality in currently, and then they want to be at a completely different point, and there's a huge gap. I work with a lot of practitioners and I help them set up their private practice. It's a one-on-one that I offer, and I don't really talk about it much. It's like when people approach me, that's how I give it. But
mm,
a lot of the times people are at price points of like 2000 Indian rupees, whereas they would want to be at like 15,000 Indian rupees. So there's like a
right.
big in receiving. So
Mm,
then it's like you have to like ask yourself like what do I really want to charge, and why is there such a discrepancy between what I'm doing and what I want?
right.
How
Mm,
does it make me feel? So these are some of the things that I have done from time to time, honestly.
mm, mm,
And I have not given up. I would also like to thank life here for throwing
mm.
obstacles my way so that I realize that no, I need money and I want
Yeah,
money. Nothing wrong with it, let's say
yeah,
if all
yeah.
your bills are taken care of, then you would again convince yourself like I don't need money, right? I don't want
Yeah.
to.
So are you also saying that there are avenues that open up where you have to make a payment and that sort of pushes you towards charging money?
Yeah, for a lot of us, it's like that, or that's like
It
the
is.
base of manifesting, where we feel like this is what I want, and then you're able to manifest the money for it or something.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that holding money, which is
Mm,
not very easy for a lot of us, where there's surplus coming in as compared to
mm,
out, and I
yeah.
think that's where a lot of us struggle. We
Mm,
can't
mm,
receive in excess. There's something scary about excess. There's something like maybe we are greedy. There are labels associated with excess, so that's also where we are stuck. You know,
right, right. Mm.
like
This is
these
such a
conditions.
wonderful, yeah, service that you provide. I mean, even if you're not talking about it, where you're helping people set up their businesses, which is such an important aspect of the of I guess life of work, which people don't even know how to do. They have the skill, but they don't know how to market. They don't know how to charge. So then it's like a question mark. What do I do? Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's quite yeah.
yeah, it's like, I have to tell you, like potential, some people can have a lot of potential, but if they're not taking any action, then it's not going to work. It's like potential is like thin air. What will you do
Mm,
with it? But if you gather enough air, then it can create winds, and winds bring so much
Wow.
change.
Yeah. And you know
Yeah.
how there is this whole concept of healing and no charging for it. It's like it's like this divine, thing that happens on its own, So do you want to, and actually that brings me to the other question of burnout and protection, and then people completely giving out their energy and then not being able to sustain that safety like you talked about. And so then people also falling sick or whatever, the healers who are just giving and not receiving. So just maybe something about that, how to protect one's energy is also important.
Yeah. So first part where you said that healing and no, like, means don't charge for money because it's something divine. That's because we as people have categorized things as good and bad, no, or light and shadow.
Mm,
So let's say, we would say that, oh, if you have, I don't know, an Indian meal like khichdi for lunch, then that would be a light meal. But let's say you have fried food, that's like a heavy meal. So again, classification
mm,
with food. But food is food, no? Somebody, if you're hungry, like you don't care if it's khichdi or a bag of chips, you're going to eat it.
yeah.
So I think that kind of transparency needs to be there, that money literally is in that basic need wala pillar,
Mm, right.
pyramid, the famous pyramid of like needs,
Mm,
Maslow's pyramid. Put it in the base. It's the truth. We can't
mm,
escape from the money
mm,
is equivalent to sleep, food, all
mm,
basic needs,
right.
breathing.
Mm,
And
mm,
when we then that's when we can put money even in the light. That money is
mm,
divine.
mm,
Money is
mm,
divine.
mm,
And it allows us to have so much abundance, right? Let's say that if you don't repair a road for some time, after a point, cracks will develop and you will see grass will sprout. And then the road will get spoiled because nature will overtake. No? So
mm,
nature is
mm,
so,
mm, mm,
we go against that nature by like putting money or food or certain basic things in different categories. Now, um, there are too many complex things in the world. Like I said, people will run behind the complexities because
mm,
that's what
mm,
we tend to do. So it's
mm,
not so easy to answer it, but I feel that this whole hypocrisy of like if you are doing some work, some particular type of work, then you're not supposed to charge money is just like what we have been taught from the colonial times
yeah, yeah. Mm, mm,
now, and it
mm.
has been
As
part of
opposed
our.
to if you do a certain other kind of thing, you can totally charge for that, for as much as, yeah, possible. Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
mm,
It's like
mm,
somebody who's selling drugs or arms is smuggling arms is earning so much.
mm,
No,
mm,
for
mm,
improving
mm,
someone's life, then don't charge. So I think because people have put these categorizations on money and we have let that continue, that's why it's a problem. So
mm,
I think it's responsibility of every person,
mm, mm,
every client also who pays us, I don't know, from every 5 rupee to every 50,000, 50 lakh rupee that they pay us, it's their responsibility also to know that, I have given this energization and I have received. My life has changed.
mm,
Our
mm.
responsibility also to talk about it and to not put money in these spaces, Let money be free. I mean, let her
Wow,
live.
yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. I mean, I think just hearing this is freeing to me. I mean, and not because we think just we have so many notions around it that a hard subject, right? It's a heavy subject. Yeah, yeah.
It's like
Mm.
money is this beautiful girl and you're telling her like, don't be so beautiful.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
happened? She's really
yeah.
beautiful, really like powerful. So
Mm,
whatever way you look at it. The second thing for boundary setting, that you said, this financial transaction is also a really good boundary because it will determine certain type of people having access to you or not. And yes, that type is a financial type, of course, but not that people who don't have money don't have access to you and people who have money have access to
yeah.
you. It's not, but rather people with a certain level of choice have access to you. That means I could be someone with a huge bank balance, but I might choose not to spend a single rupee on healing. I might
Mm,
not find it, and I might, not take it that seriously.
mm, mm,
So
mm,
financial boundary will prevent me from entering that zone versus somebody who might have an average bank balance. I mean, I'm talking in terms of society, okay? So average bank balance, but
mm,
might choose to invest in this because they see the value in it. So I think that
mm,
financial boundary is not to make it accessible or inaccessible, but rather like a boundary for choice that people who want to or choose to invest in this, they can.
mm. Yeah, yeah. Mm,
It's one boundary, and that really helps us also be grounded, that
mm.
this is my practice, this is what my fully booked looks like, these are the amount of people that I can work with, this is the
Yeah,
work life that I can have. But if you
yeah.
don't invest that kind of money, then you don't have that work life balance, then you're worried about things, then you want to onboard one more client. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm.
That's when
Yeah.
you get depleted. That's when that burnout slowly starts setting in, and it's very um, subtle in the beginning, so you don't notice it. A lot of
Mm,
healers, therapists, anybody else in the healing profession, like nurses, doctors, are severely burnt out.
mm,
Severely
mm.
burnt,
Yeah. Mm,
you know. Yeah. So, we are taught that I think when I work with a lot of therapists or coaches or counselors, healers, they say that, I don't know how my client will pay, but then why do you want to look at your client with sympathy?
mm.
You
Exactly.
decide, when you decide on behalf of your client that he or she may not be able to pay this, you are deciding for them, which means that you are judging.
Mm.
That is going
Even if we
against your.
think it's sympathizing. Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
Sympathizing is judging. No, that's why we're taught to have empathy. Empathy
Mm,
means that you believe that the other person will be able to do it. You just show them. It's like the simplest difference is that if somebody is drowning in a pool and you jump in, that's sympathy because you are not sure in what conditions they are in. You're jumping in because you feel so pulled by it emotionally. But if somebody is drowning and you're able to tie a rope to this tube and throw it to them and then like shout and guide them and gather people and like gather the resources to go and get them, which will work.
mm,
That's more of empathy because you're assessing the whole situation, not just the person who's drowning, but you're assessing where
mm,
you are at, if you are in a position to jump in or not,
mm,
what other resources are available, and you're also trusting that person's ability to hear you and also save themselves. We all have that
mm,
survival instinct, no? So I think these are the
mm,
certain differences which we can forget because we are very sensitive people as light
mm,
workers.
mm.
Pick up
Yeah.
the emotions of the others. Here also the boundary doesn't stay. So that's why I
Mm,
said that the only thing that can help you make money is to decide that you want to make it,
mm.
not
Yeah.
hypocrite about it.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. And are there any rituals or anything in particular that you follow, for grounding or to make yourself feel like you're yeah.
I do. So saltwater baths from time to time, like full body, and then dipping my feet in salt water, or just washing my hands with salt, like after sessions.
Mm,
And
mm,
before sessions, I do grounding. So I take a minute, I sit down, and I ground myself in the here and now. Everybody will have their own way of doing it. And
yeah,
basically, I also set an intention that today's session is going to go in a very good direction, or today's work is going to lead us to a very good closure, resolution, whatever that may be
yeah,
for the client. So that also
yeah.
helps me be completely on board with the process. And when I feel that way, I feel safe with what I'm going to do today, and
Mm,
my client reflects it. So
yeah,
I do a
yeah,
pre-work grounding and a post-work like just general cleansing. Other than that,
yeah,
I light a lot of candles. I put incense. I just sage my space. Standard practices, very basic. I'm sure a lot of people know, non-complicated, honestly.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
One good practice is to just close your eyes at the end of the day when you're before you sleep, just to close your eyes and just set an intention that I just pull back my energy from wherever it went today, gather
Mm,
myself completely in my body, and now I'm ready to rest. So, nothing's open
interesting.
then. So this is a
Yeah,
practice
yeah,
I do from time to time also. Very simple, but simple. Keep
yeah.
it simple.
Yeah, this has been the theme, throughout, keeping it simple. Yes, yeah. Which is the need of the hour, because like you said, we love to complicate stuff.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
that's the
so
drama we are also, all of us.
all of us, yeah, yeah. So why don't you tell us, Suniti, what motivates you as a person? As like apart from your healing personality, what else do you do? What else makes you happy as a person?
Oh, me, I dance a lot. I'm also a makeup artist. I don't know if you knew.
Oh, no. So it's
So
something you practice?
yeah, yeah, I do. I take clients also from time to time. I'm
Oh, wow.
professional makeup artist. So these are things
Wow.
of my
Interesting.
passion which I do. I think I do art as well, so I cook a lot. I cook a variety of different meals. I cook every day. I have to tell you this, Amisha. I think it's like my
Wow.
one thing I do every day by default. Like I want to make one meal for myself and my husband, and I feel very good about it. It's very therapeutic to
Mm,
me. It grounds me also. So it's usually breakfast. I try to make a really good
mm,
breakfast for us and to start the day well, and that really centers me for the rest of my day. So
yeah.
these are, I think, certain things that I do outside of this work. But what motivates me is, I think these conversations, like this conversation now, I think like if we wanted, this could have gone for 2, 3 hours.
Yeah.
But so I think these
Yeah.
conversations really motivate me, conversations with my clients, and I think insights motivate me when I get an insight or my client gets an insight. It's like, wow, boom. So I think
Yeah.
these things
Yeah.
really motivate me, and I look forward to having these conversations with my clients, and yeah.
Wow. And this brings me to kind of the last segment now, talking about, stories, miracles, and transformations that you've seen in your clients' lives. And if you want to share with us, over the years, how, what you've done, or you feel like, that has really touched people's lives.
There are a lot of stories, but there is the story of this couple who had come to me, and they were childless for years. They have tried a lot of different methods. I think they went to other work, healers, etc. But they couldn't. I think somebody had recommended me. This was pre-pandemic. I don't even know if it was 2020 or 2019, something like that. And sorry, this is a fly or something. And basically, I was very clear. I said that I don't know if I can help you, but
Yeah.
I will what I do know. So I will look into the issue and see what you have done till now and what has not worked. And then whatever remains, I'll see if I can help with that. And then I did 3 surrogate energy work sessions with them. And after the third one, they conceived.
Wow.
That's like a
Mm.
really beautiful story. And I was, um, amazed that how did this happen? I don't think I'm really great at sharing about these things unless the
No, no,
client
you
writes.
must, so that people, yeah, get, they also get hope. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But like I said, that I feel like people tend to complicate things, and they want to go to like the bigger picture first, but we have to look at the smaller things. So one of the things that came out was that there was a fear of not having a healthy child. We are struggling so much. What if we don't have a
Mm.
healthy child? We have to struggle further. That was not
Yeah.
helping.
Mm. Yeah.
And then that's the thing that I could work with, and that's what I
Mm.
solved both over three
Mm.
sessions. And got resolved. I think because, some part of them was not on board with this plan of having a child.
Yeah. 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 Mm.
Complex, so many things happened. They did, but nothing worked out. And I think that's what worked, is what I feel.
Mm.
Also, it's not that they came to me and I was the one who could do it. It's the process also. It's their willingness to go to a healer one last time. Let's take a look at it
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
different angle now. It's their own willingness
Yeah.
come to me again. If it
Mm.
didn't work with me, they would have had the willingness to go to somebody else, just to keep at it, that not non-resistant. So all of the factors work, no, to bring about this kind of
Yeah.
results or news. However, I'm really
Yeah.
glad that I'm part of it, honestly.
Yeah. 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 When you say surrogate healing, Suniti, can you give us a glimpse on? I've heard of surrogate tapping, like, where
Mhm.
someone else is tapping and that energy is absorbed by the person, who's going through something. So how does, maybe, like, if you can tell us a little bit about how that
Can
works,
never do
surrogate healing.
that. But I
Okay.
don't do. I am not the surrogate. There are two people who work with me as surrogates.
Oh. Mm.
Therapists in they
Mm-hmm.
have their own work, but then so we specifically work where I conduct the session and they go through it on behalf of the client, and there's a certain way that you do it, and then the energy can be
Mm.
transferred.
Oh, okay.
It
Mm.
works
Mm.
best in cases when the client is unable to come physically, or it works very well as like a last resort thing, because the neutral person is able to see or work on something that you may not be able to see, because our problems are very close to us, no, we know that there's a problem but we can't
Yeah.
see. So it's like that.
Yeah.
It's very
Wow.
similar to surrogate tapping, but going through like a
Mm-hmm.
full-fledged hypnosis regression process with them and
Perfect.
transfer energy, yeah.
Yeah. So, Suniti, any parting thoughts? Anything else you want to tell us or talk about?
I just want to tell whoever will listen to this episode that if you're a light worker, you're doing really, really, really great work. So, like value yourself, choose yourself, and, do well, make lots of money, give a lot of value. If you are doing well, you're able to serve your clients so well, honestly. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
choose your work every day, choose money every day, choose abundance. I think that's what I
yeah,
want to say.
yes. And if people, want to reach out to you, what's the best way to do that?
The best way to reach out to me is to just go to my Instagram, and there's my link in the bio, all the ways to access me through my free group, my Telegram channel, everything is there. And if they
Perfect.
just want to connect, otherwise also they can just email me and I will respond.
Yeah,
I think I have shared my
perfect. So
email.
I'm going to put all the, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going to put all the
thanks for that.
information in the description. Yeah, perfect. All right. So it was a very wholesome interview. Thank you so much, Suniti. I hope that you come again on the show and we probably talk about something else. And
Yeah, I
thank
hope
you
so
so
too.
much. Yeah,
Yeah, so much
yeah,
fun, Anisha, really. Thank you so much
yeah.
for inviting. Yeah,
Thank
see
you.
you.
Okay. Yeah, take care. Bye.